Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 3, the final day of InfoComm 2017. We're very, very excited to have with us David Labuskes, the CEO of InfoComm itself.
And the CEO of InfoComm is very excited to be here.
Brilliant.
Thanks
That's
for
very
having
nice
a
to
chance
know.
to talk
We've
with
been
me.
very busy man. We're lucky to have him on our shows when we come to ISE, but you're probably less busy at ISE than here. Is that
They're both pretty crazy weeks.
Are they? Okay.
They're both pretty crazy weeks.
What we love when we come to these shows, or even when we go to ISE, is we see Mike Blackman here, and we see you there, and we see Mike Blackman here, and the whole executive team seem to be well, first of all, they're incredibly well dressed, with great shirts, ties, lovely suits,
Well,
but
thank you.
it's lovely to see them. I mean, it really does, it makes you feel at home as an international attendee. And I'm sure it's the same for the Americans when they go to ISE, that they see you there as well. So it's really good.
I appreciate that. The about 60% of the exhibitors at each show do not exhibit at the other show, and so Mike, quite honestly, is here doing sales prospecting to talk to those exhibitors that are here that don't go to ISE, and my show team is there doing that as well. We also have the association staff that are there supporting our membership, and this show is such a large show, has such a global reach, that all of our country managers from all over the world and all of our show managers from around the world are here.
Would it be fair to say that everybody seems to have upped their game this year? I mean, just everything we've seen, whether it be the press lounge, the consultants lounge, all the InfoComm stuff, there seems to be something where people have stepped up a level.
That's great to hear you notice that. I sort of feel like this is a new InfoComm show that is built on the legacy of so many years of shows. We actually don't have record of when they started doing shows back sometime after 1939. This is, shows have a 2-year planning cycle sometimes, but we've been working on new messaging, new content. We've been talking about the new conversation our industry needs to have about solutions and outcomes rather than components and technology. Obviously, we love our components and technology, but they're there to create an outcome for the buyer.
There's so much great content. I think it's great. Everything's in context. I mean, I personally love the Orange County Convention Center. It's one of my favorites. I mean, it's so clean, you could eat your food off the floor here, I think. Everybody's so friendly and whatever, but everything around it is done really well. I mean, everything when you walk into the show floors, the people, I mean, we've loved the Rave Pubs lounge they've had outside, the InfoComm stuff that you've had outside. The press lounge is amazingly good. And there was a lovely little presentation that Brad Grimes gave yesterday in the lounge at lunchtime. Really nice little touches, which I think is really good. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. We appreciate the coverage that we get on the show. Our exhibitors are absolutely appreciative of that. And the least we can do is give you a comfortable space to work and feed you good food. And
now you won't be to tell us now what the visitor numbers are, but you'll be announcing it when the close shows is at 4 o'clock today, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Because every year we have somebody that will register for the show at 3:30, and we want to make sure that we're announcing an accurate number. So 4 o'clock. It's actually one of the areas that I have no flexibility on. I will not schedule any meetings. I won't talk to anybody. I won't do anything like this at 4 o'clock because there's a magic on this floor. The floor gets quiet. All of the exhibitor personnel are standing and waiting, and we listen for the loudspeaker, and Jason gets on, announces that the show is closed, and announces the number.
Brilliant.
There's a silent pause, and then the entire floor erupts in applause. And to me, that's the magical moment.
The other thing I have to congratulate you on is your center stage. I've not seen a center stage as good as that at any exhibition globally. And we go to CES, and we go to NRF, and we go to ISE.
Never heard of any of that.
It's unbelievable. I know you haven't, but no, the center stage is unbelievable.
Thank you. We really wanted that's back to that content. Let's talk about outcomes and let's demonstrate it. One of the things we're doing as an association is we're walking our talk. That's why you see things stepped up.
There was like 8 AV people, and the comfy seating and the stage area, the lighting, and the voice of God, which we loved. Nice touch. Very nice touch.
And there's a 360 camera there. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I didn't.
And that 360 camera is actually streaming over to our Mersive Technology pavilion, where you can experience it in VR, AR.
And
so we're demoing commercial applications of new technology while we're using the center stage to deliver content. So
we've not been able to catch that many center stage presentations, we are going to listen to Miami Heat. I think the guy at 1:30 is talking with Rick Cope from Nanolumens. So we've scheduled a little break so we can go and see that one in the afternoon. But they've been brilliant, and we've had a number of people on the show who've used the facility and stood on a panel or moderated it or competitive. They have been so pleased with the whole thing as well.
I'm so excited to hear that.
Good. And the other thing that we've heard, because this is the last day of the show, of course, and we've had all the industry influencers you can possibly imagine on. We had 10 or 11 people yesterday and a similar number the day before. They've all been telling us what they've loved about the show. They've agreed that everybody's up the game. One thing that did stand out was this volunteer recognition breakfast that you did, which was...
That's great.
Was that Thursday morning?
Yeah, Wednesday morning before the ribbon cutting.
Right.
So that, I inherited that breakfast in my first year as CEO, and it's an opportunity for us to thank those whose terms ended last year. And obviously it was my first show and my first year. I didn't even know the people.
Right.
There were about 15 attendees in the room, and
so we had a handover this year.
Well, we have handovers every year.
Right.
We have people leaving the board, leaving and retiring as officer. What I've done is just tried to make it a much more emotional and deep connection and thanks to the individuals. So over the course of their time on governance, I collect pictures, and some of them are flattering pictures,
and some of them are humorous, I'm sure.
Not. Some of them are pictures. I reach out to spouses and get family pictures and childhood pictures. And I tell a story about the individual rather than just say, thank you very much for your service on the board for 2 years.
I think you had something like there was a number touted around about 8,000 volunteers.
It's one of the numbers I shared at that breakfast, is that over the course of the year so far, we've touched 8,000 different people in volunteer functions or in participating in items other than this show. I think sometimes our shows catch so much light that the rest of the work we do and the rest of the connections with people throughout the rest of the year fall into a shadow. And I wanted to highlight it. I wanted to highlight that, yes, I have an extraordinary team, but the secret sauce of InfoComm as an association is our volunteer membership that reflects our industry, which is just so vibrant and passionate about what we do.
As I think I said before, ISE, how are you ever going to up this? Well, you've done a great job here, but you've got Las Vegas coming up in June next year.
Absolutely.
I know you're under planning stages for that.
Yeah, well,
it's going to have to be good though.
That's okay.
To beat this.
That's okay. Let's raise the bar. Yeah, I'm 4 for 5. This is my 5th InfoComm as CEO, and we've set records every year but one. And you know, our industry is growing, it's vibrant. If you look around the energy, everybody I've talked to can't wait to come back to this show next year.
And we can't as well. David, thanks very much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.